Thanks for listening to the Pharmacy Podcast Network.
This is Pharmacy Crossroads with your host, community pharmacy business veteran, the road trip guy, Bruce Nealand. Community pharmacy is at a crossroads. Pharmacy owners across the country are evolving their pharmacy businesses and making a bigger impact on their communities. Bruce talks with the most innovative community pharmacy owners, pharmacy industry experts, and people who are passionate about the business of pharmacy and its impact on community healthcare. Pharmacy Crossroads is a member of the Pharmacy Podcast Network. And now, here's our host, Bruce Nealand.
Well, hello, everybody. This is Bruce Nealand with another episode of Pharmacy Crossroads. I'm running out of superlatives, but I'm excited about today's program. I've got three amazing people on the line with me. We're going to be talking about compounding and try to help share some ideas and encourage more people to get into it. There's been a lot in the news about compounding the last year or so with GLPs, but there's much, much more to it than that, and it's a much more important part of pharmacy than the headlines would indicate. So, real briefly, I'm going to tell introduce each other briefly, and then just dig right in. So, rather than a long introduction, we're going to get going. So, I've got Kevin Borg. Kevin is from the Phoenix area, owns a compounding pharmacy in Peoria, Arizona, and Prescott, Arizona, which up until a year ago was my hometown. Then I have Shelby Witt, who I have not met before, but I'm excited to do so. She owns a compounding pharmacy. It's Montana Apothecary and Compounding Pharmacy in Great Falls, Montana, and Kevin's been in this for 15 years. Shelby's a newbie about 3 years. And then joining us is the person who's been working with them, Erin Michael from PCCA. She's the director of member engagement, and I've talked to Erin several times before. So Kevin, we're going to start with you. You've been running your own pharmacy for 15 years. What made you go crazy, and how did you get into this business?
So my love of compounding started in pharmacy school. Prior to that, I had no experience. I had worked as a pharmacy technician in a retail pharmacy for a few different years, and that's where my first love of pharmacy started. And then once I got into pharmacy school, you get exposed to all the different areas where a pharmacist could potentially work. And the cool thing about the program I was in at Midwestern is first year of school, actually the first 2 quarters, every Wednesday afternoon, we would go out and do a shadow of an independent or some sort of pharmacist in different arenas. And I got to experience at a couple different pharmacies that did compounding, not to the degree that Shelby and I are doing them at, or to the safety and quality that I would say Shelby and I are doing them at. But that's kind of where that passion, that fire really started, and it kind of showed me what the opportunities are in compounding. And then obviously as owning your own pharmacy, that's always been a passion of mine.
Well, and I have reference here to Bill Latondra, and I've known Bill in the industry. He's finally retired, but who was Bill and how did he help you?
Yeah, so when I made this decision to, and I didn't do it right out of pharmacy school. It was so I graduated in 2001, started the planning for Potter's House Apothecary in late of 2007. Took a leap of faith. I had learned about PCCA in pharmacy school in our pharmaceutics labs, and knew that if you were going to do compounding and you're going to do compounding the right way, you had to have a relationship with PCCA. And so my first call was to them just to inquire about a membership. And that's when the rep that I had spoken to connected me with Bill Laton through their coaching and management services, which allowed him to help me get my business plan written, which then allowed me to get a small business loan, and kind of the rest is history.
Well, that's kind of cool. So Shelby, you don't have 15 years. How did this happen, and how's Kevin helped you?
Yeah, coming into compounding for me was a little bit different. I worked as a manager of 3 retail stores in Montana and then ended up moving to Spokane, Washington. And while I was in Spokane, I was over there at the hospital, and I was lucky enough to come in contact with a little boy that had Ewing sarcoma. And Ewing sarcoma is a bone and soft tissue cancer where they need a lot of extra care and inpatient care. And they used a BLT cream, so a numbing cream, on his port while I was the pharmacist. And that really struck a chord with me. As a pharmacist, I was really interested into what this medication might be. And so I took off 2 years being a pharmacist and became his full-time nanny. And without getting teary-eyed, I'm also 20 weeks pregnant, so I won't cry. But just really took a liking to the personalized care that he was getting through compounding. We went through numerous different routes and medications to kind of help him. And after he was back to health, I decided to jump back in as a pharmacist and decided compounding's the way, and started drawing up my business plan for what is now MAC, or Montana Apothecary.
Well, I've got to say, I've got the advantage of having a video of Shelby, and she did not avoid crying, and I am doing the same. So what a remarkable story. As a pharmacist, you took a job as a nanny for 20 months.
Yeah, it took some time off too. I think that's what compounding is truly about too, is when there's a special place in your heart and you feel that passion, you fuel it. And that's what I did. I was a nanny, so.
Well, so how has Kevin helped you get started?
Yeah, so I was connected to Kevin through Aaron with PCCA, and that was initially after my position in Spokane. And I actually took a road trip from Montana to Arizona, drove down to see Kevin. He set up 20 minutes aside for me and ended up spending 2.5 hours of his day. And that was the conversation that really ignited it all. So he didn't sugarcoat it. I remember him letting me know that there will be pitfalls, and there's going to be things along the journey that you're going to need support with. So Kevin's really just given me that, here's what I've done, here's what not to do, shared his experiences, and kind of been there every turn of the way.
And so you're open 3 years now, and is it compounding only?
3 years. We do a little bit of both. We just took on some hospice as well.
Okay, well, thank you. So Kevin, we're going to go back to you. Obviously, Shelby's not the typical pharmacist. What do you think she has or does that's allowed her to become successful, and frankly, in such a short period of time?
Oh man. So that day that her and myself and her father met, I had no previous relationship. She had reached out to me and said, "Hey, we're going to be in town. Can I come visit?" And just the passion and the fire that I saw in her, I had zero doubts that she was going to be a freaking rock star. And this was someone that I wanted to help mentor along the way. I knew she was committed to the hard work and dedication that it would take, building relationships with practitioners. Dude, I'm so proud of what she's accomplished. I'm actually learning stuff from her, which is, I think, what's super, super cool. Just the way she's doing things, of where I can improve in my business, but to see someone that I've kind of helped guide along the way, and then her kind of do her own thing. Like, it's almost like, the mama bird pushing off the nest and letting him fly. And then she's creating this incredible business of things that there's even things that I am learning from her that I need to improve on.
Well, you used a word there, the ability to build relationships with providers. And I've been around a few years, in fact, 52 this year, since I called on my first pharmacy. But the point, I guess, that has always intrigued me about compounding, and I'm delighted to be talking to people like you and for what PCCA has done for me in my podcast program. But I've been in thousands of pharmacies, And it's amazing to me how few of them do or get into compounding in a serious manner. And, part of that, I think, is the natural reluctance of most pharmacists to get out of the pharmacy and go meet people. And clearly that's essential in compounding, isn't it?
It really is, and one of the things, kind of going back to the first question of why I got into compounding, is the triad relationship is very real in compounding. The collaboration where we are looked at as an asset to the practitioners that we're working with, and I know Shelby can absolutely speak to that. But my success, and I believe Shelby's success, is because we have committed the time and the energy to connect with practitioners and educate practitioners, whether it's inviting them to PCCA hormone seminars and investing in them. I mean, those are the things where you may spend $1,000 paying for an entry fee for a practitioner to go get educated, but that's going to be returned to you 20, 30, 100 times fold later on. And then the patients that you're going to get to work together with. I mean, there's nothing more rewarding in pharmacy. And I've worked in a few different areas like Shelby has, but there's nothing more rewarding than being able to take care of patients and practitioners and working together to solve those patient issues. It's such a, I mean, yeah, it's hard work at times, but man, the reward that you get at the end of the day and being able to rest your head on your pillow at night knowing you're doing something good in your community, I mean, it's priceless.
Well, let's go to Aaron. You've been sitting quietly on the sidelines, Aaron. Your job is to help make these people successful. Tell me a little bit about how you do that and the tools you have to help you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very fortunate to work for PCCA. I was in their shoes for a while before I came on board here. And so I think that's what I love about it is I can share some of my personal experiences too, whether they were successes or failures. And I know what they're dealing with and some of the anxieties of getting into compounding. But with PCCA, and you've heard from both of them, just the networking and the support system that goes along with that. I truly think it is a community of compounding. And when you come on board with PCCA, that's what you get ingrained into is that community. There isn't this selfishness of I'm not going to share with you or you're my competition. It truly is how can I help you and how can we learn from each other? And, how can I hold your hand? Kind of like what Kevin said is, the mama bird that has the new baby and just wants that baby to leave the nest and wants to support it. And that's truly, what compounding is all about. So at PCCA, I think that some of the resources that we have available that I've seen Kevin, dive into, and I've seen Shelby dive into is really the confidence to know that they are providing not only the best quality product for their patients, but the most state-of-the-art, whether that's technology in our proprietary bases or innovation when it comes to using a new type of formula or delivery system, all of those types of things help them. I think the benefits of compounding definitely, I mean, Kevin spoke to it, Shelby spoke to it, that professional reward that you get, knowing that you're not just counting pills by 5 every single day, you're actually making something that's custom to that patient. There's something to be said about that you made a difference in a patient's life today. And most of the time, these patients that come to us, they're at their wits' end. They've tried everything else and they don't know what to do. So to watch people like Shelby and Kevin be able to truly help a patient and watch their pharmacies grow throughout that. Again, the professional and the personal growth that I see too is really, it's an awesome experience. It gives me a lot of validation and a lot of, I think, personal reward too, is just to be a part of that community too.
Well, you mentioned earlier in your comments about the quality of the ingredients.
Yes.
And I think with what's going on in the press today, I got to ask you to dig a little deeper. If somebody's buying something from you, how do they know it's legit?
Yeah, and that's a great question. And there are a lot of places out there where you can buy chemicals. And what we've always prided ourselves on here at PCCA is we aren't just a place to buy chemicals. We are really an all-encompassing support system for compounding pharmacies. We also go above and beyond when it comes to our procurement or, finding some of these chemicals. Shelby and Kevin and other compounders, they work with many white powders, and a white powder can be, a white powder. You don't know what that is in the jar. And so, part of our quality process, it's called the PCCA standard, is we validate and test every single product that comes through our door to make sure that, the identity of that product truly is what the manufacturer sends or says that it is. Because we want to make sure that when Kevin or Shelby dispense a product, that they can feel confident that what is on that label is the powder that is in that bottle as well, and that there are no impurities or anything. One of the basic requirements in the United States for any chemical repackager is for them to purchase from FDA registered facilities. At PCCA, we actually take it a step further, and we only purchase products that are from PCCA registered and inspected facilities. So that is something, an extra step that we take. We also have very long-term relationships with the manufacturers that we buy product from as well. So we know that who these people are. We have these long-term relationships, but again, we want to make sure that we are taking those extra steps. And so we go through a whole validation process once those products come into our facility as well.
Yeah, thank you. So Shelby, we're going to make you get back into the ring here. What sort of new idea, new product, new program are you getting ready to, or have you just launched in your pharmacy?
Yeah, I always try and bring something new to the table. I think the one thing that I'm really excited about is we have a concierge group, and that's set up through PCCA, where we're set up with, in my group right now, we have 8 like-minded pharmacists. And we've always been talking about what's new, what's different, what technology can you bring to the store? My group tends to tease me that I'm younger, and so my job is to bring technology to the pharmacy. So I took that on full force, and we're going to roll out an online store. It has a pretty robust over-the-counter subscription plan. So patients, after their consult, can go and get over-the-counter subscriptions. So their vitamins, their supplements will send directly to their house. So that's kind of new and fun. And that was curated through that concierge group with PCCA. And then the other thing that is we've really delved into is just utilizing the Speakers Bureau through PCCA, where they provide the speaker and we pick the topic, and you can do it virtually or in person. And we're about to do our 5th Speakers Bureau coming up and educate the community and providers. We usually split it, so we do the morning to patients, and then the evening we leave to providers and educate providers on whatever topic we're talking about.
That's kind of cool. So you're introducing your patients and your providers to some of the ideas and concepts that are part of your practice. That's cool. So Kevin, back to you. You're the big wig who won the Pharmacist of the Year award last year from PCCA. So you must be doing some innovative stuff. Tell us what's kind of on your radar screen.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of funny doing something similar to what Shelby mentioned. And I also want to mention one other thing is I've been in a concierge group probably since I've been open for about 6 to 8 months. And the cool thing about this is one of the value adds to having a PCCA membership is it's that connecting you with the networking of like-minded, similar pharmacies that are like, maybe they'll group new startups together to help each other out. And then they'll group more veteran groups together. But it's really, each month someone speaks on a different topic, and it's where we all bring value to each other and network with each other. So we're actually kind of doing, one of my weakest areas has been in our supplement sales. If we do, hundreds of thousands of dollars in business a month in terms of our compounding. But if you saw what our OTC sales were, it's pathetic. Like, it should be such an easy add-on to business where, it's just, there's so many supplements that we could be getting to patients to even help them do better with their compounded medications. And that's one area that I got to be honest, I failed at. So I'm kind of we're rolling out an online store. I'm going to start creating social media content, which I'm a little freaked out about. But, I've got colleagues that are encouraging me to do this, and there's a lot of opportunity out there. And I know Shelby's already started doing that. But, it's educating patients on other areas that we can add value to their life. And that's one of the areas I'm going to be adding to my business here in the next year. As well as I got to give props to PCCA for their annual seminar, which is coming up here in about a month. So I'll be speaking at that. There's a special student section on Saturday. I'm going to be helping potential pharmacy students that eventually want to open their own compounding pharmacy and kind of mentoring them in that, speaking to just the different things that I've learned over the last 15 years of owning a business, and just trying to get back to the future of pharmacy students.
I want to jump on something you said at the beginning, because it's one of my personal pet peeves. I will drive places and stop in and see pharmacies unannounced and in my travel attire. And, about 20% of the time, somebody will know who I am, and it turns out to be a pleasant visit. About 20% of the time, the guy won't know who I am, or the person who owns the store. And I'm an old timer. I still say guy a lot. But a fair percentage of the time, I run into somebody who has no idea who I am. And as I try to develop a conversation with them, I'll talk to them about what trade shows they have been to or what magazines they might read that I have written for. And it just is appalling to me, the number of people who say, no, they don't belong to the association. They don't go to meetings. They don't read the trade journals. And these are the guys that are struggling. And as I have talked with people like you, and it's been my pleasure to meet hundreds of super successful pharmacists, I asked them, were you successful and then you started going to trade shows, or did you start going to trade shows and become successful? And you said within 6 months of your practice, you weren't successful 6 months in, but you started investing time in learning from others. And boy, if anybody's listening to this podcast who's a late bloomer with going to trade shows and conventions or reading pharmacy journals, I would just use you as an illustration for how they need to get off their can and start doing that. Because meeting with other people who are successful makes you successful. You're nodding your head, Kevin. Go ahead, speak.
Yeah. So I will just say exactly what you just said is I had just opened my pharmacy in April of 2009. October of 2009, I was in Houston. I was like a deer in the headlights. I did not know what to expect. I was a little scared. I was like, is anybody going to know me? Is anybody going to talk to me? And I cannot tell you the family environment where people just put their arms around me and welcomed me and were there to guide and encourage and just be there for me. And that's basically what happens every year at this meeting. It's almost like a huge family reunion of compounding pharmacists. And to Aaron's point earlier, it's just everybody's willing to share. Everybody's willing to help each other out. And that's what like you said, it's like a family reunion. You look forward to it on an every year basis. But yeah, I mean, I was scared the first time to go. I didn't know what to expect, but that investment, I mean, honestly, it's led to a lot of my success and the connections that I've had in the industry of just like-minded people to help that want to help each other grow.
Well, Aaron, that's your cue. He mentioned investment. Tell us a little bit about the changes PCCA has made in the last little bit to make it easier to join.
Yeah, obviously our industry has changed a little bit. There tends to be a little bit more of an investment to get into compounding today, from lab build outs to equipment and different regulations. You're almost running multiple labs at the same time if you're doing hazardous compounding, non-hazardous, and then if you throw sterile compounding in there, you're even running more labs. So we understand that there is a huge upfront investment when it comes to your facility now to get into compounding. And so for many years, we are a membership organization, PCCA is, and we have always been kind of a large upfront fee to join PCCA. In 2022, because of the realization that we know that there's, this investment to get into compounding, we wanted to kind of follow suit with many other, businesses in not only pharmacy, but in the world, and kind of move to a subscription model. And so now we are just one flat fee. that you pay monthly to PCCA. So there is no upfront fee anymore, which has made it a lot easier for, innovative people, for just people that wanted that professional fulfillment back and want to make a difference in their community to enter into compounding. So it's been really exciting for us. Within that 1 month or that one monthly fee, you get access to all of the things that we've spoken about, the resources that are available at PCCA, the 24-hour service that we have from our clinical services, our proprietary base technology, our formula access, marketing, just so many things that are available through PCCA. And that also, when you come on board at PCCA, you get a dedicated, what we call new member success manager. And so we run you through your first 12 months of really onboarding you to make sure that you are taking advantage of all the resources within your membership, because there's nothing that I would hate more than for somebody to, enter into something and then not take advantage of all the resources that are there. So we really handhold you through your first 12 months to make sure that you get all of those benefits and really are set up for success to be the next Shelby or to be the next Kevin.
So we're getting close to the end. I have to ask a critical question. Is the FDA going to shut down compounding?
The future is bright for compounding. We have always had regulations. We've always had regulatory bodies. One of the things, another member benefit that we have here at PCCA is we have a dedicated public affairs team. We want to make sure, and it's a passion of our owner, our CEO, David Sparks, always has been a passion of his, to make sure that, members like Shelby and members like Kevin continue to have access to not only the chemicals that they need to make a difference in patients' lives, but that they are able to continue to do what they do with all of the resources that they need. And so we probably about 10 years ago formed a public affairs team. I'm actually going to DC next week, and we'll be talking to legislators. I'm part of that team here at PCCA, and that's what we do. We educate legislators the same way that Kevin and Shelby educate practitioners on what personalized medicine is and how it helps, and how a one-size-fits-all does not work for everybody. And so therefore, there will always be a need for compounded medications and personalized medicine. As we see more and more patients taking back their healthcare and wanting something that is custom to them, I'm excited for the future.
So, Kevin, I'm going to ask you to make a comment, and I'm going to do the lawyer mistake. I have no idea what the answer will be. But do you have any concerns for you personally in dealing with PBMs, or are you all cash all the time?
Well, that's a loaded question.
Yeah.
So obviously, I have
personally, not for the industry. Yeah.
Personally, I despise PBMs. They are evil. They are the evil empire. I will go on record. I will go on public record and say that they do no good. They do not save anybody money. They don't save patients money. They save themselves money. So if I can encourage people to when they open their compounding pharmacy, do like Shelby's done, and I told Shelby this, cash only. That's the way to go. Patients can submit receipts to their insurance and get reimbursed. We ain't dealing with it. I'm at Potter's house. I'm already too far in to change that, and we have a lot of sick kids that are on, public aid, or basically Medicaid. And I can't stop doing it here, but it's been a problem for me here.
So Shelby, cash only, and will people pay cash? I've always been told that if insurance doesn't pay, people won't.
Yep, we've been cash only since we started. That's Kevin's advice to me, and that was the best advice that he's given me. I think if you set the precedence of this is the quality that we offer, and if you are, serving that quality and giving the patients the service as well behind it, then yes, they're absolutely willing to pay for the compound.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to need to wrap this up. We've had a wonderful conversation with Aaron and Shelby and Kevin. I want to make a couple comments as we close. If you're a pharmacy owner, and whether you're a pharmacist or not, if you're a pharmacy owner, I would beg you to look into whether or not you can bring some kind of compounding into your operation. the compounding piece itself will be helpful, but in my experience, one of the biggest things you'll learn when you go into compounding is you're going to need to go call on prescribers in the community. And if you're a combo shop doing regular scripts and compounding, the synergistic effect of getting out and dealing with your physicians will have a wonderful effect on your regular prescription business as well. They don't teach you how to do doctor detailing in pharmacy school. PCCA does, and that's the backbone of success, is getting out and learning how to market yourself and providing you the tools. And you just don't go in and say, hey, I've got this, do you want it? There's tricks and tips and tactics to getting in and working with physicians and physicians' offices. And in my experience, that's one of the greatest advantages of PCCA, is they have the ability to help you learn how to do that. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I've been entertained and informed and inspired by Kevin and Shelby. Thank you so much for your participation in this program. And Aaron, thanks to you and your company for the wonderful work you do. You talk about going to compounders on Capitol Hill in a couple weeks. PCCA is a leader in working with congressional and legislative people. And I implore all the companies who are dependent upon independent pharmacy to start doing that kind of thing as well. We need more than just the pharmacists. Ladies and gentlemen, friends and neighbors, this is Bruce Nealand closing out another episode of Pharmacy Crossroads, where our hope is that something we've said today will help you do more and be better. Good day.
Thanks for listening to Pharmacy Crossroads. If you're interested in talking with Bruce, please contact the show. Visit pharmacycrossroads.com. We look forward to hearing from you.